and get into this one. We've got the full indictment for Terry Rozier here. He's mentioned. Damon Jones is mentioned. Of course, Damon Jones is mentioned in both of these indictments. We went through Chauncey Billups' indictment as well. And we're going to talk about and break down what the charges are, what Terry Rozier is being accused of, and how that's going to factor in moving forward. All right. So let's see what the FBI had to say here. We've got the United States of America versus all these people. Eric Ernest, known as Spook. Marv's Farley, known as Vez. We've got Shane Hennon. We've got Damon Jones. We've got De Niro Laster. Okay. And then, of course, Terry Rozier. Let's get into it. We got the introduction. At all times relevant to this indictment, unless otherwise indicated, the defendants and relevant entries and individuals. We have the defendants. We know who they are. And of course, we're focusing mainly on Terry Rozier, aka Scary Terry, as they call him. And Chum, okay. Hey, yo. Leave that one alone. Was a resident of Ohio, North Carolina, and Florida. Rozier was a professional basketball player who has played in the NBA since 2015. And we went through his salary since he entered the NBA till now. He's making about $20 million a year. Or he was. Ugh. Anyway, Rozier was close friends with the defendant, De Niro Laster, and they had known each other since childhood. It always turns out this way. The NBA and the betting companies. The NBA was a professional basketball league in North America. Why do they say it like that? Among other things, the NBA team included the Charlotte Hornets and all the other teams. We know who they are. The NBA maintained codes of conduct applicable to its players and coaches and management that prohibited, among other things, wagering in connection with NBA games or providing non-public information related to NBA games to others. Such codes of conduct also require NBA players, coaches, and management to provide their best services and loyalty to their teams. NBA teams were required to report to the NBA information concerning player injuries, illnesses, and rest for all NBA games. On each game day, the NBA disseminated an injury report for each NBA team playing that day. The injury report identifies players as falling within one of the following categories: available, probable, questionable, doubtful, or out. The injury reports were updated multiple times throughout each game day. Betting companies 1 through 4 entities, the identities of which are known to the grand jury, were licensed gambling companies operating in the United States that offered sports betting services. I'm sure we could guess some of the names. The betting companies offered sports betting services relating to, among other things, NBA games and individual players' stats. We've got other relevant individuals. Y'all see them here. We've got Bruce. Oh, shout out to Bruce. We got a Sal in here somewhere. I mean, dang. Co-conspirators 1 through, it looks like 9. My gosh. And then we got the background of sports betting. We're not going to get into that. Y'all know there's been a lot of issues with sports betting. You heard about the ref that was involved in sports betting as well. And you know, many of you know how it works. I'm not going to go through that whole thing. But here is where the scheme breaks down. The fraudulent wagering scheme. In or about in between December 2022 and March of 2024, the defendants, all of them, together with others, participated in the scheme to defraud the betting companies by providing, obtaining, and using non-public information relating to the NBA games to place and cause others to place fraudulent sports wagers for profit and to launder the proceeds thereof. The fraudulent wagering scheme typically involved various iterations of the same pattern within a network of co-conspirators. That's where they messed up. The defendants and certain co-conspirators had access to private information known by NBA players or NBA coaches that was likely to affect the outcome of upcoming NBA games or individual players' performances. Damon Jones is alleging to get in trouble for this because he is close to, connected to, and played with the most popular player in the NBA right now, one of the most, LeBron James. So he was on the coaching staff with the Lakers, and it's alleged that Damon Jones was telling people, hey, LeBron's, he's not playing. They would place their bets and then win an advantage there. Everybody's betting on LeBron. They provided other co-conspirators with non-public information in exchange for either a flat fee or a share in expected wagering profits for the purpose of betting. The co-conspirators disseminated the non-public betting information through a network of individuals who placed bets on the co-conspirators' behalf, placed wagers on their own behalf, or directed others to place wagers, all within the intention of profiting off the scheme at the expense of the betting companies. As a result, many of the wagers were placed in connection with the betting lines that did not affect or account for the private information known by the defendants and their co-conspirators, rendering the wagers more profitable. It's even believed that Terry Rozier faked an injury just so somebody could make good on their bet, which is crazy, man. The defendants and their co-conspirators placed and caused others to place these fraudulent wagers through the betting companies' mobile applications and retail sports books. Okay, let's skip ahead because we want to get into the details. What did Scary Terry do? On March 23rd of 2023, the Charlotte Hornets games, and there's video of this. You can see how his play is impacted by what's going on, allegedly, right? During the 2022-2023 NBA season, the defendant Terry Rozier played for the Charlotte Hornets. Prior to the Hornets' March 23rd, 2023 game against the New Orleans Pelicans, the March 23 game is going to be referred to, Rozier informed the defendant, Deniro Laster, that Rozier was going to prematurely remove himself from the game in the first quarter due to a supposed injury and not return to play further. Can't be doing that. Rozier provided this information to Laster for the purpose of enabling Laster to place wagers based on this information. Rozier was not on the Hornets injury report prior to March 23rd game, and the Hornets officials were not aware of Rozier's plan to exit the game prematurely. The public, including the betting companies, was also not aware of Rozier's plan to exit the March 23 game prematurely. And this is where it always goes wrong. People who steal money like this, people who come up with these schemes, they get greedy. They go too far. And we're going to find out here soon exactly what the wager was and how far they were going to go. To think that they weren't going to be able to track this and this wouldn't get flagged is dumb on their part. Excuse me. The defendant, Deniro Laster, sold the information about the defendant Terry Rozier's plan to leave the March 23 game early to multiple co-conspirators, including the defendant Mars Fairley and co-conspirator 1, to enable them to place fraudulent wagers based on the non-public information, insider trading, insider betting, in exchange for the information. Fairley and co-conspirator 1 agreed to pay Laster approximately, yes, $100,000 from their expected fraudulent gambling winnings prior to March 23rd game. Fairley, Laster, and co-conspirator 1 exchanged text messages confirming that Rozier planned to exit the game prematurely and confirming their plan to place wagers on Rozier's unders. Basically, that Terry Rozier would underperform relative to odds makers' betting lines for his individual performance. So if anything, they should just get rid of the unders, and that way the players will play better and score more points. I don't know. The defendant Mars Farley also provided information to defendant Shane Hennon so that Hennon, both himself and through a network of straw bettors, could place bets on the defendant Terry Rozier's unders. Fairley provided the information to Hennon, and Hennon agreed to place and direct his associates to place bets on Rozier's unders based on an agreement between them that Hennon would give Fairley a share of the profits from his associates' winning bets. On or about March 23rd of 2023, and prior to the start of the March 23 game, the defendant Shane Hennon placed multiple bets at a retail sportsbook operated by betting company 3. Y'all could probably guess who that is, totaling approximately $61,000. All of which were either straight or parlay bets on the defendant Terry Rozier's unders. Good Lord. In addition to placing bets on Rozier's unders himself, Hennon marshaled a network of associates to place bets on Rozier's unders at Hennon's direction, including but not limited to the following bets, of all which were placed on or about March 23rd, 2023. First bet, Lord have mercy. They bet on his unders at a retail sportsbook operation betting company 1, and they bet $107,000. Wow. Okay, so we have a mobile application totaling approximately $41,000. Hours earlier, McCormick received 2 payments of approximately $40,000 via peer-to-peer mobile payment platform that McCormick and fam used to fund the above described wagers. Co-conspirator 3 placed multiple straight or parlay bets on Rozier's unders at retail sportsbook operated by Betting Company 1 and on Betting Company 1 mobile application, totaling approximately $20,000. Co-conspirator 4 placed straight bets on the unders operated by Betting Company 1 of $17,000. We have a bet of $12,000. We have, in addition to the defendants and their co-conspirators, other defendants, Terry Rozier's close circle places wagers on Rozier's unders in connection to the March 23rd game as well. We have an $800 bet here. We have some $1,500 bets, $4,000 bets, a $4,000 parlay. And Terry Rozier, what happened to Terry? During the March 23rd game, the defendant Terry Rozier removed himself from the game in the first quarter and did not return. Not looking great. Terry Rozier played approximately 9 minutes and 34 seconds, well below his season average of 35 minutes per game. Rozier scored 5 points, recorded 2 assists, and made 1 3-point shot, which were all below his per game average of approximately 21.1 points, 5 assists, and 2 3-pointers, and below the line set by the odds makers for Rozier's points, assists, and 3-pointers in the March 23rd game. So basically, Terry was messing the whole thing up. He was messing the whole game up. Rozier collected 4 rebounds, okay? Rozier's early exit from the March 23rd game and his related underperformance relative to the season averages for his points, assists, and 3-pointers resulted in the success of numerous fraudulent wagers placed on Rozier's unders by the defendant and their co-conspirators. All right, and then we have more. There was another game. We're not going to go into the details of that, but it's essentially the same thing. So there was another game there Terry was in on, and there were tons of bets. There was another game on April 6th that Terry Rozier was involved in and took bets on. There was a game on February 9th and January 15th. Jeez, man. And this one is actually involving Damian Jones, which we're not going to get into that much there. But this is the game where Damian Jones was like, hey, LeBron's going to be out, essentially. We've also got January 26th, Toronto Raptors. Here are the counts. Let's go ahead and see what these guys are going to be held accountable for. Conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Obviously, all these people, what did they do? They together knowingly and intentionally conspire to devise a scheme and to defraud the betting companies. So that's the count 1. Count 2, conspiracy to commit money laundering. What do they do there? To conduct one or more financial transactions in affecting interstate commerce. So they were basically sending money back and forth to get this money taken care of. There's that. Criminal forfeiture allegation as to count 1. They want all their stuff. And then criminal forfeiture and allegation as to count 2. And that is signed by Joseph Nocella, a U.S. State's attorney. What do y'all think about this? Was it worth it? Probably not. I think these guys are going to be held accountable, and the NBA is probably pissed because they're going to have to make some drastic changes, and so are these gambling companies. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. And then